Hey, everybody. Sorry, I had to stop by and had to go ahead and get me something. So who we got here? Datin. How you doing, Datin? Obed. How you doing, Obed? Good to have you both. So here we go, guys. So I want to start at the very beginning, okay? Because I think there's a lot of information that has been literally forgotten or missed or not handled very well. Card Master, hello. Good to have you. A little bit of quick background. I almost had 20 years in law enforcement, done a lot of interviews, done a lot of interrogations. So I'm just giving you my perspective, my opinion on what I think. And I think we all need to share opinions on what we think happened. All right. So also veteran of the United States Marine Corps. With that, let's get it. So here's the deal. Why haven't we got to see Tomasco Ciccione, Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law, married to Annie Guthrie? Why haven't we seen any video or pictures that were him dropping his mother-in-law, Nancy Guthrie, home and him leaving? Can anybody answer that? That's the first thing. Because here's the thing. They were able to get still pictures and video of the suspected perps on different days, different occasions, right? How is it that they're not able to show you literally Tomasco Ciccione dropping off his mother-in-law? It was dark, so they would have seen the headlights. He couldn't have come in stealth because he couldn't see. It was dark. It's pitch dark. He dropped her off at approximately 9:30 p.m. Arizona time. And yet still, no one's seen the headlights. And then on the flip side, when he left, he had to stop for traffic, right? If there's any traffic, you got to hit your brakes just for a second, if anything. Would have seen the taillights. Why haven't we seen any pictures of Tomasco Ciccione dropping off Nancy Guthrie? Does that make any sense to you? I mean, they show all these cars that were passing by late at night, right? Remember that? They showed all these cars passing late at night. But they don't show Tomasco's car at all? How is that possible? Just trying to get some feedback here, because I think what happens is there's so much that wasn't said and so much that literally wasn't identified. And then there was very little that was given to the public, that now you got so many theories, so many conspiracies, and it just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all. And I've worked in law enforcement, I've done investigations, I've done interviews, I've done interrogations, and yet I can't even piece it together. So what do you all think? Let's see what we got here. We got, poop. I died. Revive me. But come on. I don't want no nonsense. Come on now. Cardmaster says, is Nancy the abducted person? Yes. Yes. Nancy is the abducted person. Nancy is the one that got taken. So then the question becomes, why hasn't they shown any pictures or still videos of Nancy Guthrie? Don't forget, click like if you like it, subscribe for free. Don't have to pay anything. Not asking you for donate any money, not asking you for anything. If you do, it'd be greatly appreciated, but that's all on you. I'm not asking for nothing. I just want to have a conversation. So tell me, what do you all think? So we got Cardmaster, okay. And we got Obed Villanueva. I'm sorry if I chopped your name. I'm just going to say Obed. Obed went ahead and subscribed. Thank you, Obed. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Shout outs to Obed. So that's really what's going on. That's the beginning, because there's been a lot of misinformation that is just not, I mean, it's just not feasible that it would happen that way. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. You can have still pictures of possible perps, literally, but you can have pictures of the son-in-law, Tommaso Sicilione, dropping off his mother-in-law, Nancy Guthrie, at her house, which got cameras everywhere. I mean, think about that for a minute. This was before she was projected taken at approximately 2:23 a.m. on February the 1st. She was dropped off on January the 31st. Why haven't they shown us any pictures? Cardmaster says, yeah, I think that it would be, the question now is, why would they try to, hang on a second. Why would they try to hide I'm still reading it here, sorry. I'm on the move. Why would they try to hide the car from the public seeing it? It doesn't make any sense. No doubt about it, Cardmaster. No doubt about it. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, here's the thing. If they can't show you the car that apparently dropped off Nancy Guthrie, well, can they go ahead and show you the perps that were there? Does that make any sense? You know what I mean? Abed says, me. It just doesn't make sense. Why can't they do that? Or are they not wanting to do that? You know what I'm saying? Hang on a second, everybody. Don't go nowhere. I'm going to drop this off. Don't go nowhere, please. Give me 1 second. Think about that for a minute. Why wouldn't they show us the car? All right, everybody, I'm back. So anybody? Let me see what we got. Obed says, I'm going to go to okay. Obed. Card master says, yeah, unless it was a set up for a police bait, when someone baits the police to go somewhere. It's possible, Obed. It is definitely possible. No doubt about it. It is definitely possible. Very, very good. The idea is that the idea is that the idea is that they don't give you any information. None, zero, nothing. And yet they go ahead, literally, and they don't even give you pictures of him stopping by, literally, of Tomasco Siccione dropping by to go ahead and drop off Nancy Guthrie. Now, I don't know what the whole thing is, and you're right. It could be very well that it's a setup, that they're trying to let his guards down. But here's the thing. There's some things that you can give out to the public. You know, when Sheriff Nanos literally cleared the family, all he had to say was, we have pictures of everything to validate that this family has been cleared. We have everything there. You know, something minimal that ain't going to compromise the case, and yet something that is literally going to go ahead and give a little bit of credibility so that the people doesn't lose hope and or respect of law enforcement. You know what I mean? So I think it's like, yeah, I get it. You want to hold some things back. No doubt about it. Cartwright said, all right, I subscribe to you. Got to go. Oh, come back, my friend. Come back when you can. You got it, my friend. Thank you guys for going ahead and subscribing, and thank you so much. I'll be on every day. We're going to start at the beginning. So, do you guys understand what I'm saying now, right? So, for the people that are here, that's the whole issue. They didn't show us anything on Tomasco Siccione being literally. They didn't show anything with Tomasco Siccione being here, being at the scene. And the question remains, why? What's the issue? Why would they do that for? I mean, you know, it was obviously he took her there, right? So why would they all of a sudden say, no, she's not there? That don't make no sense. Tell me what you think, everybody. Tell me what you think. We're going from scratch. I need to know hey, let me know where you're all from. I'm from Northwest Ohio. Let me know where you're all from. Give me 1 second. Could it be that the reason they didn't show us any pictures of Tomasco Sicilione dropping off Nancy, could that be because they couldn't show any pictures? Because they never had any pictures. Which means, did Tomasco Sicilione really drop off Nancy? You know what I mean? I mean, we're going back to the beginning. So if they weren't able to present that information, why? Why would they just go ahead, literally, and they showed everything else from the perps, right? They showed everything else on what happened to the perps, that they were in the front on 2 different occasions, that her camera, she didn't even have a subscription for that Ring camera that she had, or whatever camera she had. She didn't even have a subscription, yet they were still able to go back and find the footage. You're telling me that they couldn't find the footage of Tomasco? That's crucial, because he was the last one to see her. That's crucial. If anything, it's crucial because you can almost eliminate him from the equation. If you can show that vehicle, she walking into the house and then him leaving. I mean, it's not the end be all, but it is something where it is huge. It is a very huge thing. Credibility. So, is it because he never showed up there? And if he said, well, she didn't have a prescription, I probably just didn't get it. Okay, I mean, can you say, oh, yeah, that makes sense? Or can you say, no, we were able to get it from this other perp. Why in the heck can we get it from him? You know what I'm saying? So there is some things there that just don't make sense. And that's at the beginning. Don't forget to like and subscribe for free. You don't have to give anything. Just like and subscribe, because we're going from the beginning, because there's too much stuff that was missed. Too much stuff that was missed. So now we have Tomasco is the last person to see her. Nancy was there, went to the house at about 6:30, got an Uber, took the Uber. Why? I have no idea. But, you got to remember, Nancy Guthrie was very independent. Her husband died very early in his life. So she had to learn how to be that mom and dad role. She had to learn how to deal with things. So she's not going to, if she can do something on her own, she'll do it on her own, I would assume, because she's very independent. Rightly so. But nevertheless, she takes an Uber to Annie's house. They have dinner. They play games. That's what was reported. But no one can tell us what she was wearing? How is that possible? Now, guys, ladies, listen. How is it possible that you have no clue what your mother-in-law was wearing when she came over? Seriously? Something's got to be a light bulb to say, oh, yeah, mom had her favorite sweater, her favorite shirt, her brown khaki pants, her black top, her purple top, her pizza, whatever in the heck. The idea is that how do you not be able to tell or remember what happened? Even if you play it back in your head, at some point you're going to think of something. So why wasn't that information given to the people? Why wasn't that information given to the people? Does that make any sense? I mean, think about it, everybody. Does that make any sense? You're not giving no description. So when we have kids that are missing, or when somebody reports a missing person report, and I'm telling you as an officer, you're crucial. You're looking for that description. Wearing a hoodie, wearing a black jacket, brown jacket, blue jacket. She owned a pair of Nikes and this and that and the other, right? You're hearing all that information. So when you're out patrolling, you're looking for that individual with that whether he's a suspect or if he's just someone went missing. You're looking for that identifiers. But they're not even giving that? Why? Why are they not giving that? You say, well, maybe they couldn't remember. People, please. It's the obvious things. It's the most crucial things. It's the most simplest things. You're not asking for them to tell you what she was thinking. For God's sake, you're just asking, what was she wearing? Okay? What was she wearing? Does that make any sense to you all? Honestly? Honestly, does that make any sense to you all? Because it sure as heck don't make sense to me. Makes no sense to me. Give me a second. Be right back. So it don't make any sense, everybody. It makes no sense at all. To literally go ahead and not be able to tell the cops who are investigating the disappearance of your mother-in-law, your mother, etc., and you can't give them a description of what she was wearing. I mean, you're not asking them, hey, tell me when your mom went to sleep, what was she wearing? Well, they may not know, right? But the last time you saw your mother-in-law, what was she wearing? When she was here, what was she wearing? When you dropped her off, what was she wearing? That's how it works. And officers look for those identifiers. They look for those things, those clues. So right off the get-go, you don't put out anything on, hey, we got a missing person report, all units, even an Amber Alert. I don't know if that was done or not. Probably not. Maybe because of Savannah Guthrie's notoriety and the stature of the family, whatever. But nevertheless, hey, we got a missing woman. If you see her wearing blah, 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 blah. Nothing. Zero. How is that acceptable? You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. So you have no description of what she was wearing. Now, so now we go on. So they show this perp at her front camera. They showed two of them. One of them they're saying was at a different day. The other one was the same day. The one that shows him going to the foliage, picking up some type of little plant or something to cover up the camera, okay? I want to concentrate on that. So they see this person, his body size. They estimate that he is about 5'9" to 5'10". stocky built. He shows a mustache, shows kind of like a goatee. He has a little bit of hair by his chin. They show that through the mask that he was wearing. He had a backpack. The problem is, they didn't really like, I mean, I get it that you got that information, but did they take, I know he was wearing gloves, but did they see where the foliage, they said that the blood was underneath the foliage. The stuff he was putting on the camera to go ahead and block it. They said the blood that was in front of the door, the front door, was in the bottom and the foliage was on top, which tells me that probably happened a while back or before that incident. Because if the blood is underneath the plant, this is the plant on top of the blood. If that was the case and they eventually took her out, that the blood droppings would have been on top of the plant. You follow me? It makes no sense. But right away they're saying, no, there was blood, DNA came back to Nancy Guthrie, blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, but what? What happened here? That doesn't make any sense. That was probably old blood that she had cut herself because she's on blood thinners, right? So you know that she's going to be very prone to any little scrape is going to cause her to bleed. I know what blood thinners do. But why are they not like, it's almost like, I feel like it's almost like they weren't trying to clarify anything, more so they were letting those notions of speculation come in. Because the first time you heard blood, you heard, oh God, I thought they must have punched her, hit her with the gun, yada, da, 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 da. Well, wait a minute, the foliage was on top of the blood. How is that possible? Because the very first act that they show on the camera was that he tried to put the foliage on top of the camera, calmly, collectively. I mean, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. All right, give me a second. You got to pick up. So the blood that was on the ground shows at the bottom of the foliage of the little plant that he was trying to cover up. This perp covering up he was trying to cover up literally the camera with. So if that's the case, why would the blood be on the bottom of the foliage, right? Think about that. Why would the blood be at the bottom of the foliage? Makes no sense. You follow me so far? Don't forget, click like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. So it doesn't make any sense on why they didn't clarify that, because all they did was leave people in speculation. You know, I don't know how else you explain how the foliage got on top of the blood droppings. It makes no sense to me. None. So then the other thing is, now we're talking about the suspect. Okay. So they said that he probably had a pinky ring because there was a little notch towards the back of his last finger ring when he had the gloves on. That's possible. I mean, that was a good catch. Very good catch. But then they also say that his, I believe his left hand, let's see, like this. I think it was his left hand. Maybe his right, but I think it was his left, was really swollen. They could tell by how the glove fit and how everything was on that it looked like his hand was swollen. I don't know how they really determined that, but hey, okay, that's a good catch as well. Good identifiers. And I still come back to, why did anybody not see Tomasco's car arriving or leaving? I mean, you got some really good description of the perp that was in the front door, right? How is it that you didn't see a car with the headlights on coming in, pulling in? Nancy Guthrie goes into her garage, opens up, she goes in, and then closes. And then Tomasco Siccioni, the son-in-law, leaves. How come we didn't catch the back tail lights? I mean, folks, this is not anything like, should be easy. This part is easy. You can show so much detail here, but you can't show the bigger picture here. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not into conspiracies, and I'm not one of these people that say, oh, it's a conspiracy, it's a setup. I'm not saying none of that, okay? I'm just trying to look at the facts. The stuff that we do know. There was blood underneath the foliage of the plant that he was trying to go ahead and cover the camera with. There was blood there, okay? We know that. There was a perp that had all these identifiers on him. Now, they even said he might have had a tattoo on his wrist. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if he did. But they say that you could see a little bit of piece of this or that, the other. Some people have said it could be like a chain, like one of them tattoos of a chain linked, I don't know. I can't answer that because I really truly don't know. So once again, that's the beginning. Now, at the beginning, I think no one wants to really talk about the elephant in the room. And what I mean by that is, no one wants to talk about the elephant in the room. And that elephant being, literally being, could it have been family or not? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Could it have been family? I don't know. I really, truly don't know. I don't know if it could have been family or not. So, Do you know what I'm saying? I don't understand the logic here. I don't understand what the thinking is here. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back, everybody. Give me 1 second.
I'm just working over here. I'm like, what door is that?
You're good, brother.
Thank you.
Peace. So that's where we're at. So there's a lot of information, just not very good information. You know, things that just don't make sense. You know what I mean? And that's the problem that I have, the inconsistencies. I mean, look, there's certain things that you have to do, and you only have a certain amount of time. You don't have all day to literally pick apart, all day to literally decide when you're going to go ahead and search and start your search and rescue and all this type of thing. You don't have that luxury. You have anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, maybe even if you're lucky 72 hours. But after that, the nosedive of the projection of the percentage of finding this person is going to become a lot slimmer. I mean, drastically. So I just don't see that there was a big urgency. I mean, I just didn't see it. I didn't see it. If there's anything I can say, in my opinion, that could have been done different, would have been they needed to go ahead and they needed to get on the stick a lot quicker. Because minutes can be the deciding factor, literally. So now we've covered the perps that were in the door, front, the two different perfs, the 2 different days. We covered the blood, the foliage on top of the blood. We covered, that's just not normal. We covered, now let's go to what they did say. They said that it appears that Nancy Guthrie was taken from her bed. Now, I don't know how you get that assumption other than maybe they looked at the bed sheets that were missing. Maybe even the caller, because there was a caller that called about the ransom. I'm not talking about the one from San Diego that was lying, that got arrested. I'm talking about there was a caller that called and he had told them about a camera at the top of the house and what position on the house that was destroyed. Remember that? And they had, this is why they don't give out all the information. Because by the caller telling him, look at the camera that's destroyed on top of the roof. That gives credibility to the caller. That gives credibility, okay, we think we might have the perp on the phone. Okay, because he was able to establish a fact that did come out to be proven that no one else probably would have knew other than the family. So that's why they hold back all this information. Well, not all, but a lot of information. That's an example there. And rightly so. But here's the thing. Even on top of that, okay? So now they have that. They have the issue with the perp. They have the issue with the caller telling them. So they say that she was taken from her bed. Okay. So then the question becomes, how do they know that? Now, maybe, just maybe, the caller told them, look, go look at the top of the roof. That camera is destroyed. He didn't say it's broken. He didn't say it's inoperable. He said it is destroyed. Like when I hear destroyed, I picture like someone taking a baseball bat and just crushing it. Okay? So, with that, he probably told them, look, there's not any bed sheets in there. Or there's the bed sheet she doesn't have. We took the fitted sheet, or we took the bed sheet, the cover sheet on top. That's what we took her in. And if you look, you'll see that there is no bed sheet. It's very possible. And they're not going to give that information. How they know, because only the perp would know that, right? Only the perp would know that. So that's common sense. But we don't know that. So then our minds think, why are they literally not giving us all this information? Well, now you can understand why they're not giving you every bit of information. Because there's a lot of details here. And details are crucial. If a perp is going to want to do a ransom, they're going to have to give a proof of life. That's a mandatory. And they know that. And B, they're going to have to somehow substantiate who they really are and how can they get confirmation that this is the legit person. So, I mean, the confirmation, the proof of life, that should do it alone. But if they want to get detail about it, they could have said that. I don't think these people were very experienced. I don't buy that one bit. I don't think they were very talented. They weren't some super crime group of people, in my opinion. You know, I just don't buy that. But the sheriff, Nano, stated that, yes, they believe she was taken from her bedroom, her bed. So then it begs the question, okay, did anybody else see anything camera-wise? Was there any cameras as they left? If there was cameras, now they did say they disconnected all the cameras. Well, they said they disconnected the front cameras. I don't know about all of them, but they did say the front cameras were the cameras were disconnected. So you pick which one you want to be disconnected. Okay. I mean, it would have been better if they would have said all the cameras were disconnected. All the power was cut. You know, something like that. But then you would know that everything literally specifically was done. But they just left it out there as in, yeah, the cameras, you know, they were disconnected. Okay. Was all of them disconnected? Was some of them disconnected? You know, I don't know. I'm going to go at face value that that's what they said, so that's what it is. But that doesn't mean it stops there. Okay? So now they're saying that she was taken from her bed. Okay? They have to have some type of clue that will tell them that. Either A, there's a bed sheet that's missing, and you know, Savannah Guthrie had her mom on her show, and she was showing them how she taught Savannah and her siblings how to make a bed. Remember that? They were showing how she taught them how to make a bed, and she always had the two sheets, and she folded them, and this and that, and the corner angles, and all that stuff. So they could have been told, like, where's grandma's sheet? Or where's mom's sheet? What do you mean? You know, I'm talking about when the siblings came, you know, they could have said, hey, one of the sheets are missing. What do you mean one of the sheets are missing? Well, one of the sheets are missing. Mom never would have made her bed without both sheets. That's not who she is. She's very meticulous. She uses two sheets. That's how she always taught us. Okay, well, there's only one sheet here. You follow what I'm saying? So there is possibility that now you're getting more information, more input. So that's why you're not going to know a lot of these things. But there is some things you need to know, like, hey, what was mom wearing? What was mom wearing? I mean, they could have used the excuse of, well, because somebody had stated something about that, or it was brought up that were they drinking like wine or something, you know, and they could have played the card of loopy, you know, oh, we drank too much. I don't remember. We were drinking. We had a couple of drinks. There was a couple of bottles that we did, blah, 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 right? It could be anything like that. Anything. So that's another thing to think about. Bottles, glasses. Did they fingerprint Tomasco in Annie's house to see if her mom was actually even there with the glasses? What glasses was she drinking out of? You know, where did she sit? You know, did she use the restroom? I mean, all those things are crucial and important. And you got to have those information, because if you don't, nothing else makes any sense. It's the smallest nugget. It's the smallest nugget that can literally make the difference of solving a case like this. The smallest little detail. I'm just saying. So now they're at the house. They suspect that she was taken. They suspect that she went ahead and was taken and out of her bed, out of her bedroom. I mean, now you got to ask yourself, okay, was there any blood in the bed? Now, there was a report on something that they said they found, like, I don't know if it was like some type of bodily fluids. Well, we know that when you pass away, you lose all extremities, right? When you pass away, understand what I'm saying? You lose all bodily functions. In other words, you lose everything, just comes out. Some people will let out all this feces. Some people will let out urine. I mean, or both. But you're going to lose everything. Nothing's holding it back. So when they said there were some feces that were going ahead and or not feces, but some bodily fluids, that's what I'm thinking. Then again, it could also have been, you know, someone going ahead and maybe, you know, they threw up or something. Maybe. I don't know. It's possible. So now you have that in play. They didn't say what it was. Hell, they didn't even say they tested it. Hell, they didn't even say who was it from. See, that's what leaves the unopened answers, the unopened door of, you know, I understand you're doing a case, and I get it. Believe me, I've done many. I understand you're doing a case and you're trying to build this case. And I'm not saying I want them to say, yep, we did a DNA and we sent it to the lab and it came back, you know, Nancy Guthrie. Or could it have been one of the perps who lost his cookies when she passed? Because maybe that wasn't in the script. You got to think outside the box. Was it that one of the perps, when they saw her literally heart give out, did one of the perps like go into panic mode and literally just lost it and upheaved everything he had? That's possible. That is very possible. And that could be something that they're looking at as evidence. But here's the thing. They're not going to tell you about that because that's how they can narrow things down. If this person has a criminal record, he's going to show up on the systems. And if he doesn't have a criminal record, he may not show up on the system. You follow me? Because really, all these law enforcement, criminal computers, access to all these different, we call them different things in different places. But all these things rely on somebody having a criminal record or a past, a speeding ticket, anything that they were fingerprinted, or blood was drawn, a DUI, anything, or a major arrest that they had to get fingerprinted. You follow me? And if that shows up, it's going to hit. Maybe they didn't have that. Maybe that's why somebody upchucked their cookies. They've got that, but they don't know who it belongs to. So they're still searching. So it very well could have been that simple, that it was somebody who literally, it didn't have to be necessarily Nancy. Now, the bodily fluids, I would say that was probably Nancy. Because if she passed at that moment, definitely I would say that's going to be Nancy. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But that just says that. Give me 1 second. So now you're looking at possibly the fact that, who knows, body fluids. I kind of figure where that probably came from. If she passed in the house, her heart, she had a pacemaker. She had a pacemaker on. You know that pacemaker, you start like traumatizing someone, that heart's going to give out. And if that pacer goes out, it may not be good enough to revive. It may, usually is, but it's not always that way. So now you have the idea that the bodily fluids probably was hers. They didn't say what kind. They didn't say what kind. But when you are deceased, you lose all functions. And you will leave bodily fluids behind. No doubt about it. Just saying. It's fact. And as far as the upchuck, you know, that could have been by something that went wrong. I mean, I could see someone who did this, you know, this is not about doing that. It was about the ransom, right? It was all about the money. I still believe that's what it was about. And so they did this, and then this happens and she goes, and they're like panic mode big time. I mean, that'd be scary as heck, right? You're doing something and it goes way above and beyond. I mean, you're talking the death penalty, committing a crime, escalating it. My God, you know, you may not have meant to do that, but because you did it, you did it. And yeah, you can get the death penalty, and Arizona has a death penalty. So there's a lot of things to think about. I'm giving you guys everything just from the beginning, right? Just from the beginning. And I hope that you guys will pass this on to others and bring more people involved so they can listen to this video, because it'll be posted on my YouTube. And they literally went ahead. Literally. This information is crucial. You've got to know that. It's crucial. It's the game changer. And sometimes when you're in law enforcement, you get it. You understand what's crucial. Some people can figure it out, sure. I'm not saying you have to be a brain genius or anything like that. But I would say that you definitely have to go ahead and know what the hell you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? You have to know what you're looking for, people. I'm giving you everything, just about everything. I'm giving you just about everything. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So I'm giving you everything. See what we got here. All right, Card Master. But not for long. All right, buddy. I hope you're hearing what I've been talking about. I hope you hear what I've been talking about. So basically, in essence, now you have all that preliminary information from the very beginning, literally the beginning, okay? And it starts to make sense. If you're honest with yourself, it is really starting to make sense. This is why I believe this was about money. This was supposed to be a simple kidnapping and then a ransom paid, and that would be the end of that. But I believe something went wrong. Now, everybody has come out, the family and people that knew Nancy, and said she was a feisty woman at her age. She was feisty. You know, she would put up a fight. And then some said, well, she probably would have went with the flow. Possibly. I guess we'll never know. Unless the perps are caught, or perp is caught, and then they go ahead and say what happened. So there's a lot of things there that really make sense, what I just laid out to you from the beginning. Now, I'm probably going to miss a few things here and there, but I think I probably covered that pretty damn well. So that is the beginning. Going back to the beginning, that is what I focus on, because I think there was too much unsaid, left behind, forgotten, that really got everybody not to focus on the obvious. That's just me, my opinion. I don't know if Tommaso Ciccione had anything to do with this. The only thing I'm saying is that he was the last person to take her home. That I do know. He was the last person to take her home. Tommaso Ciccione. And I do know that being the last person, you're always the first person people talk to. Why? Because you're the last person to see this person, other than the perps. So I gave you guys a lot there to just kind of ponder and think about. Okay? Now I'm gonna think and see if there's anything more as far as the beginning. Oh, so you had a vehicle at the very beginning. They talked about, they were looking at vehicles, and this is where a white vehicle, maybe I should say that for later today. I'll say that for later today. So basically, you guys got everything from the house, okay? And you could assure yourself, look, no sheriff's department, no police department, no anything is going to allow something like this to happen under their watch. I mean, that's just crucial, unless they're just horrible people. They don't want this to happen on their watch, okay? So I don't think that there's really, if there's any misconduct or negligence, it's mere out of, and it's, everybody always says it's political. It's political. And I can get why people say that. And sometimes I feel that way. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I do. But I would rather say this is more about ego and about stature and about pride than it is about politics. Although I'm not saying politics doesn't have a play, because politics always have a play. I mean, all you got to do is, you guys know the history. Just look back at the history of what's gone on in the last year. And yeah, I'm not even going to go into that. That's the least thing I want to do. But so I think it's more about ego, pride. And, those two things, ego, pride, self, I think that is just as harmful as a lot of things. Literally. Literally. I really do. Yeah, but did she do anything against her son-in-law and his or her son-in-law in any gangs? You know, card master, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, honestly. I can't say yay or nay because I'm really not sure. I don't know if there was something there about her son-in-law. I'm not sure if there was something about her son-in-law. I'm not sure if she did something about, like, I don't know, dealing with gangs or not. I have no idea. And I think I have no idea because we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. And that's all I can say about that. Is it possible? Well, hell yeah. Everything's on the table right now because no one has a clue on anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going by the mere knowledge that I have had in my investigations and what I have done to try to make sense of everything that's happened. And I think I've made pretty good sense. And I think if whoever watches this will say, yeah, he pretty much, it made sense to me. Look, I'm not just talking fly by night type of individual. I'm talking from experience. And I do believe, literally, that this was something that was done because of money and it went wrong and it had to do with kidnapping. I do believe that. But somebody had to know where everything was at. Someone had to know. Someone had to know because of the fact that at nighttime, to do something like this and pull it off, my God, you got to know the lay of the land. You got to know where all those rocks are. I mean, could you imagine how many ankles would be broken trying to walk on that property or any property out there at the Catalina Hills, foothills? Could you imagine how many ankles would be broken because you stepped on a rock, a oblong rock, and you just snapped your ankle? I know I sure as hell would. So you have to know the terrain. You have to know about the cameras. You have to know that she's alone. You have to know when she's going to be there. You have to know her routine. I mean, God, a lot of this seems like it points to a family member. And yet, you can't rule that out either. You just can't rule it out. Would I have ever cleared the family at any point in time? No. You know when I would have cleared the family? When I found the victim. When I found Nancy. Then I would have ruled how the story would have told me. But I sure as heck wouldn't have cleared the family from the beginning. Only because you can't. There's too much there. You understand what I'm saying? There is too much there to rule the family out. Card says, does anyone know where she could be? Remind me, was this in Arizona or is it in in Mexico? This was in Arizona, in the Catalina foothills, right outside of Tucson. Cards, right outside of Tucson. This was in the Catalina foothills, right outside of Tucson. And yeah, I mean, it was a very expensive place. They said acres out there went for like about 100,000, anywhere from 50 to 100,000 an acre. So it was definitely expensive. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm back. So I think we've covered a lot of very important information, in all honesty. In all honesty, I think we really did. I think we covered a lot of information. And this is only the beginning. I mean, right now we're looking at day 49, I believe. And I'm only giving you a couple of days at most. So there's a lot here. There is a lot here. And that's the problem, is that there's so much. And that's why I wanted to do this from the beginning, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's been missed and there's a lot of stuff that's been overlooked. I don't know that, honestly, Car Master. I have no idea. Could there have been? Possibly. I'm not sure that. I mean, maybe coming from, Savannah used to be an attorney, white collar crime, mother, very big advocate for many causes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what exactly, how she would have fit in that role. I don't know the backdrop or backstory yet of Tommaso Ciccione, Annie's husband, other than he was from Italy. They met, they married. I think they've only been married like, what? God, don't quote me on this, but I thought it's somewhere, I may be off, but I thought it was only like 6 years they've been married. But here's the thing. Man, that's deep. But I don't think that to me is what happened. I just don't see that. I'm not feeling that with everything I've been reading and looking and seeing. I just don't see that yet. Maybe I'll come to find out. And believe me, I've been doing a lot of research myself, but I'm starting at the beginning. Because like I said before, I believe that's where it all starts, is at the beginning. Everybody was overconsumed with the fact of who this person was, who her daughter was, and everybody was so overconsumed that they just kind of like, they lost, and almost like they lost their marbles, if you will. You know what I mean? Sorry about the movement of the phone. Almost like they lost their sense of common sense. So I don't think that was it, but it could be. It's a good theory. It's a good theory. I'll be able to tell more later, though. So let me read the other comments. Well, everything says this happened at her house in Arizona. Yes, it was close to Mexico, but it was Arizona where this all happened. Foothills, what they call it, the Catalina foothills in Arizona, right outside of Tucson. That's what they've said. Oh, you got it. So, everybody, I just want to let you know that I appreciate you guys listening. I really do. Because I'm telling you, what I'm telling you is all perspective from law enforcement. I'm not telling you like this is my thinking ideas. This is what I'm trying to piece together, the pieces at a slow rate to make it make sense. And this so far is making sense to me, so far. But this is just the beginning. And we're going to cover this for however many days in a row it takes. Because I'm going to be coming out every day. And I'll let you guys know when I go ahead and post. Make sure you click like and subscribe so you'll get a notice when I'm going live on YouTube. But getting back, so let's get back. I don't want to talk about the white car. We'll get that one. You're going to have to remember this because it's very crucial, important information. Everything I just told you is very important. Now, there's other people, obviously, that I suspect, but it's just an opinion. I'm not saying that these people are guilty or not. I'm just saying it's my opinion. And I think that some of these people that I suspect are at the very top. And I don't know. I don't know if I want to get into it right now, or if I want to wait till later this evening, or if I just want to wait till tomorrow. Because I don't want to bombard you all with so much information. That's what happens. You get bombarded with so much information. Everybody has a story. Everybody has an opinion, but no one wants to put any meat on the bone. They just want to throw it out there like it's loosely, and it's not that way. There is reasons why law enforcement has to hold back information. Just common sense. There's reasons. And there's reasons why they shouldn't hold back everything. Stuff that is not really pertinent. Stuff that could gain more trust from the people that don't have that mistrust of law enforcement. So we covered Tomas Sessione. Now, in this whole thing at the beginning, apparently they interviewed Sheriff Nanos. And when I say interviewed, I don't mean Sheriff Nanos himself. Sheriff Nanos is the figurehead. Understand that for everybody. He's the sheriff. He is the figurehead. Okay? The big kahuna, the big whatever you want to call him, he's the figurehead. Simple as that. That's all he is. He doesn't, the fact of the matter is he shouldn't even done any press conferences because he's not a very well press conference individual. Most places will have a person who does all their press conferences because they know what they can say and what they can't say. Give me 1 minute. So, Sheriff Nanos doesn't do the interviews or interrogations. There's a lot of reasons why. Because people at the top, they don't want to tie themselves up in court. I mean, honestly, they don't want to tie themselves up in court. You won't see Nanos go into court. Not for doing a case, because that's not what they do. They're the figurehead. They're the ones who have the foot soldiers that do all. He's got a team of investigators himself on the sheriff's department. He's got a team of investigators. Okay? So he's got that. He's got people that work patrol. He's got officers that do all this stuff. Nanos is not going to interview anybody. In my opinion, from every law enforcement entity that I've ever known, you've never seen the chief or you've never seen the sheriff. Hell, you never seen the undersheriff go ahead and interview people. It's not what they do. They're the figurehead. The buck will stop with them. Full stop. They'll pay the price. You know, they'll be held accountable as the leader of their department, but he's not going to do it. So when I say the sheriff stated that he interviewed the family, I don't mean it like literally he interviewed them, because he doesn't do that. But the sheriff stated that the family have been interviewed. That the family have been interviewed. He did state that. And that means he interviewed Tomasco, he interviewed Annie, he interviewed Savannah's, I'm assuming Savannah's husband, and Cameron. And he cleared the family. I don't know how anybody gets cleared that fast. That I will say. It's not that simple to just clear people. I mean, when you're talking about a case like this, the magnitude that it is, it's not that simple to say, okay, they're all cleared. No, it's not that simple. It doesn't work that way. Okay? And just for the record, understand that just because they say you're cleared, that doesn't mean you can't be uncleared. Okay? That doesn't mean that you can't be taken off the uncleared list. Okay? Because the reality is you can. And the reality is you probably will. You know, you cannot, in my opinion, effectively clear that many people in that short amount of time. I mean, unless you have a big department, but even then, it just doesn't happen that fast. You know, I believe literally that should have never happened. But I'm just telling you, the family's not cleared. Nanos may say, the sheriff may say of Pima County may say that they're cleared, but they're not cleared. Absolutely not. Let me see what Cardmaster says here. Do we know what they have said about the abduction? The only thing we know about the abduction that they have said is that she was taken from her bedroom, from her bed, so I'm going to say bedroom, that it happened somewhere on the 1st of February at approximately 2:20, 2:22, somewhere in there time frame in the morning. That she was brought back to the house at 9:30, 9:32, 9:36, somewhere in there. She was brought back to the house after being taken back by her son-in-law on the 31st of January. But yeah, the abduction, they haven't put any suspect out there. Now, they did pick up a couple people of interest. They picked up a couple of people of interest, no doubt. They have picked up people of interest, but that's the thing. I just don't think, I don't know. I am not going to second guess the sheriff's department. All I'm going to say is they have picked up a couple of people, but I don't think that everything was done that needed to be done. That I'll tell you straight out. And the reason I say that for is because of the fact that literally, there's a lot of stuff missing that they did not do or that we don't know about. I'm going to say probably they did not do because I haven't heard anybody talk about it. And I'm going to cover that on the next segment. You know, I'm going to cover that as far as information that they didn't obtain that would have been so simple to obtain. You know what I'm saying? Give me 1 second to grab something. So there hasn't been anything else. Like I said, I just believe that I know that literally what they have said is, it's not so much what they have said, it's what they haven't done, or what wasn't done, should I say, that I'm aware of. So that would be my take, you know. Yeah, I think there was a lot of stuff that was missed. I think there was a lot of stuff that wasn't done. I should say a lot, but there was stuff that's crucial that wasn't done, in my opinion. Okay? In my opinion. And I do believe that those were very important things that should have been done that weren't done. So that's where we're at, everybody. That's where we're at. And I really appreciate, once again, all you who subscribe and who have joined. I'm telling you, you're not going to regret it, because what I'm giving you is literally solid information on how it works in law enforcement and how things are done and why things can or doesn't make sense. Okay? That's why. I'm not here to root and all this stuff. I'm here to literally let you know what I know and what I see and how it gets processed and how evidence goes and what the chain of custody and how all that shit works. And it's very important stuff, you know. And if you don't know how it all works together, then yes, of course, you're gonna have so many different views of opinion and make your head spin. No doubt. And I don't blame you. You know, it's not your field. And if it is your field, then you understand exactly what's going on. So that is one of the things that I look at. So we covered the perps, we covered the house, we covered how and when apparently she was abducted. We covered how, the clues, some of the clues that may have been there, as far as clues whether sheets were missing, why would sheets be missing, why you would have extremities like bodily fluids, so forth and so forth. I covered that. And you guys, I'm telling you, I haven't never hear anybody talk about that. They have said, I've heard people say, oh, there were some bodily fluids, but never going into depth as, well, from what and how, from who, when, why is this important? I haven't heard anybody talk about that. But yeah, the vomiting, if there was an upchuck, because they said I thought they said they had some other things that they picked up along with the bodily fluids. But that could have been one of the perps that this went wrong real quick and they lost it. You know what I'm saying? It could have very well been that. Who's to say it wasn't? I mean, could you imagine? Look, everybody's a tough guy. It's like that old saying, everybody's a tough guy until they get hit once. And then they're like, oh my God, right? Well, everybody thinks that they can do anything until they can't, until someone shows them they can't. And then it's like, oh my God, what just happened? So that's where we're at, everybody. That's what's happening. Do we have any beliefs that it was a cartel, says Cardmaster? Look, I don't think it was a cartel, not because I care 2 cents about the cartel, because I don't. I don't think it was the cartel for the simple fact that there's a lot of more easier ways to make money than this. Now, I know that this is a money grub type of thing, business where people will do this and that and the other. I get it. I just don't think that this was a cartel. Look, they would have had to know every movement. If this was a cartel, they would have to been in on it with some people that knew Nancy very damn well. Very damn well. They would have had to know the layout. They would have had to know what they were dealing with, cameras. They had to have known what they were going to see. They had to have, look, if it was a cartel, they wouldn't have sent their leaders, right? They would have sent their minions, okay, their people to do this. And even then, they would have had to know the ins and outs of the layout. And I just don't buy. When I saw some of these crime junkie podcasters, that are out there, these sleuths that are out there trying to find where's Nancy. And a couple of them did some night when the sun went down and it was dark and kind of showed you what it looked like from that early in the morning or, 11, 12 o'clock at night. Man, you couldn't see nothing. You couldn't see anything. No doubt about it. You couldn't see nothing. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's not the cartel, but that's furthest from my thought that it was the cartel. It just is. See what else we got from Cardmaster. The son-in-law. Well, he's from Italy originally, full-blooded Italy, to my understanding. Could it have been him knowing cartel members? I mean, it's possible. The guy played in a band. He teaches part-time. I think it's still part-time. It could be full-time, but I thought it was part-time as a biology teacher. He plays in a band with him and 2 other individuals. The band scene, the night scene, going out in the bars and playing in the clubs, the little clubs, the little dives. I could see how that could fit in the narrative. I really could. But no, there was too much other information that I haven't even covered that deal with literally the idea of the financial aspect of that was reported that Annie and Tomasco had some financial difficulties. Okay, now I can tell you that that's true or not. All I can tell you is that's what I have heard, and that's what I have heard reported. Okay, that they had financial difficulties. But that's all I can tell you because I just don't see it cartelish. Cartelish, that's a new word, cartelish. But it is possible. Hang on that thought. So that's what I would say about that. I'm back. That's what I would say about that. Is that I don't think it had anything to do with the cartel, and if it did, then I would say that the probably the most logical person would be either Tomasco that was involved, or some of his friends who knew other cartel members or knew people that were also his friends. You know what I mean? So I just don't see it that it's really the cartel. I don't see that. It's not to say that it's not. It's just to say they had some issues that were reported financially, and that's why I think it was a quick payday, but it went wrong. That would explain a lot of if there was some fluids like throw up or something that was there, upchuck, that maybe someone had a weak stomach and didn't want it to get to this extreme. I mean, there's a lot of things. So I'm not saying that it can't be. I'm just saying that in my professional experience, I don't think that's a part of it. Right now, there's just another suspect, another one for sure that I think he may be. He's definitely not the mastermind because it doesn't seem like he's very intelligent at all. And I don't say that being mean. I'm just saying, in my opinion, from hearing him talk in the interview and everything else, I don't think he's very intelligent to pull something like this off. However, I do think that because of those same reasons, he would be the kind of person that would try to do something like this and pull it off. But I'll cover that here in another segment. Honestly, from what I'm seeing, I'm still at that point of saying that it was gonna be that individual. And the only reason I'm even remotely mentioning Tomasco is because he was the last person to see her. Gotta drop this off. Do you know if 3 is on the outside? Apartment 3? I think it should be the inside. Thank you. I'm back. Let's see what they said. Cardmaster says, Air, I have to go now, but I love talking with you and I subscribe, so I will come to your next live streams. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Cardmaster. I really do appreciate you. And I enjoy the conversation. I enjoy bouncing things back and forth. And I do appreciate you. I really do. But that's what it's about, man. It's about talking and trying to figure out, you know, there's things I may learn by questions that you ask, by all of you, questions that you ask. It makes me think more outside the box. But yeah, we're definitely going to cover on the next segments. So thanks a lot, Cardmaster. I appreciate you being here. Semper Fi, my brother. God bless. So that's where we're at, everybody. I mean, you know, there's some things that literally you got to ask yourself, you know, is it, you know, Cardmaster has a good point as far as the cartel. I just think that it's not like they don't do these type of things, but usually, and that could be wrong, but most of the time when they're taking people this here and there, they're taking people of other, you know, rival cartel leaders and whatnot. Or, I mean, they do the thing of taking people in ransom and all this. That's, other countries do that a lot, other third world countries, because it's the only way they can make money. But a lot of these places, yeah, I don't see that being in the cards, but it's very possible. Very, very possible, but unlikely. That's just my opinion. But I will find out about some other issues that Cardmaster was asking, because he has some really good questions. Very good questions. And then you have other things, you know, like, I just think the lack of intensity of this case from the very beginning was the downfall so far of it. And what I mean by that is there wasn't a sense of urgency. Well, I can't say that. In my opinion, there wasn't a sense of urgency that I wish I would have saw. Given the nature of what was going on, given the nature of what they were dealing with. I just don't think that it could have been, I don't know, it could have been different, in my opinion. So yeah, that's been a very great conversation. Very great. I appreciate all of you guys, and I thank you all for subscribing. And I'm telling you, we're going to do this tomorrow, probably at the same time. and we're going to go ahead and see where it takes us. But there's so much more information that I need to share with you all to get you guys to understand, not to get you, like you don't understand, don't misunderstand me, not like that, but that you guys can look at it from a perspective of law enforcement and go, okay, that makes sense. That would make sense. Rather than just throwing out these heinous ideas and suggestions and see where they go, and then say, well, if you don't tell us, then we're just going to come up with our own ideas. Lack of information brings in speculation. No. Lack of information just means you don't know. Okay, period. You don't know. And if you're not in law, you're not going to know until they tell you what you're looking for in law enforcement. So that's lack of information. That's really, no, that's so, it's like a two-year-old comment, in my opinion. And because you're not, it's then that's some things that I've done doesn't make sense to me. I see the truth in what I'm telling you, in the given and the facts that I have been able to decipher because of my experience. But so that's where we're at, everybody. That's where we're at. And with that, I think this was a very good day. So I'll keep it on this chat just a little longer, see if anybody else comes in. But that was it. Moscow, who dropped off his mother-in-law, Nancy Guthrie, at her house, or there was nobody there, and I dropped my mother. Well, it's not, they're off there, and I dropped my mother. Well, it's not, they're off. Okay, well, let's see. Okay, well, let's see. What time? At about this time? This guy? No, there's nothing there. Well, I dropped her off. How in the hell does that person get cleared? Who's the last there? Well, I dropped her off. How in the hell does that person get cleared? Who's the last person? How does he get cleared? Clear people when they can't even do a reason why they're not. They can't even do a reason why they're not on the camera. Excuse me. But then the other aspect is, when he left, my God, you guys ever looked at your tail lights when you went to hit the brake at nighttime? God, it lights up everything. No one could see him leaving. Why is that? Did he even show up? Did he even go there? Did Nancy even make it home? I mean, I don't think this was something that was staged, but I do think that this is something that people are trying to cover their 9 or their 6. They're trying to cover their ass. I do believe that that's very possible because of the fact that they knew what they were planning to do. They just didn't know that it was going to turn out the way it did. To me, that speaks volume. I mean, that literally speaks volume. All right, everybody, I am going to go ahead and appreciate everybody. I thank you for all your subscribers that subscribe. I thank you for everybody that has watched and participated. And I want you to know that I will be going live again every day in order to get people to hear, sometimes to hear the truth. You got to go to where the truth would possibly come from. And I'm not knocking anybody, okay? But when it comes to crime, whether it's unaliving people, whether it's snatching people, whether it's going ahead and literally, whether it's taking people, whatever the case may be. When it comes to crime, because they get it, and they understand it, they get it. So that's all I'll say to that. But yeah, that's how I see it. And I appreciate all of you, and I will be coming back, and I thank you so much. And like I said, I'm not here. I don't here asking for anything, donations or nothing. I'm not asking for anything. It's not even about that. It's about solving this cause. Because here's the thing, we all have grandmothers. We all have people that we love. I can tell you a story that will blow your mind. I could tell you a story that would blow your mind that I have literally experienced my life. But that's maybe for another day, maybe another time. So my thing is just about the unknown, right? It's just about the unknown, right? I don't know who did this. I want to figure it out. And it's not I want to figure it out because of an ego or I think I'm smarter than common sense. It's all common sense.